Good evening and welcome to Atlanta Falcons UK. You may notice we're a man down this evening. Our usual host and glorious leader, Danny, couldn't be with us this evening. Some say that he's still in the depths of depression after this week's game. So you've just got the three of us to break down this weekend's game against the San Francisco 49ers. We will take a little look ahead to our game against the Miami Dolphins and then do all of our usual segments as we close up the show. So let's. This feels so familiar that we arrived together for group therapy. A bit of a disappointing display on offense this week. Liam, what went wrong?
I mean, a number of things, really, didn't it? I think well, I think on defense we didn't actually play too badly. I know we didn't handle McCaffrey very well, but that's a difficult matchup for any team. But we didn't allow that many points. Like overall, like 20 points. Like it's not a beat down in terms of number we gave up. But again, we just completely stuttered on offense on both the run game and the pass game wasn't really effective at all. It's just another one of the games we never really got going in any way. We just constantly looked like we were trying to build momentum, and we never did throughout the entire game. It was similar to the Carolina game, although we actually scored points this time. But we couldn't really get moving, and just had too much for us in the big moments, and we just looked flat again, didn't we? Really.
Yeah, we did, and I think I kind of agree. I kind of think the defense did enough, and I think to hold a team like the 49ers to 20 points isn't that bad of a showing, really. The offense really should have given the defense a little bit more to work with, and for me, it just felt offensively a bit clueless, like that no plan B, and I think that's what's really kind of concerning me right now. Is that especially when we go on the road seems to be, hampering us so much more. Can't quite put a finger on some of these offensive decision making. To go out and pistol as much in areas where we should just be using our guys to run is a little bit baffling. So yeah, I'm absolutely with you there, Carl. What how did obviously if we can keep it clean because the group chat has been laden with angry rhetoric today, but from your point of view.
Yeah, it was just one of them games where the offense just didn't click every time, every drive we had. It just looked like there was a mistakes like all over. It was a 4th and 1, and we tried throwing the ball, and it's like we need 1 yard. We don't need 5 or 6. It was a perfect opportunity to run the ball and get that one, and then minimum you're looking at 3 points at that point as well. Some of I think Penix looked a bit slow at times coming out of the pocket, even though I thought at times he did have enough time to get the ball away, which obviously isn't great. I feel like we beat the Bills quite comfortably in the end. Like we looked very good. It was an amazing performance from the offense. And then you come to an away game like you've mentioned again, and it's like we're starting again. It's like every time, what do we do? Go beat the Dolphins next week and then lose again? Is that like 1-1-1-1? Is that what we're going to do all year? But that's not going to get us in the playoffs in the end, and that's obviously our ultimate goal. Like you said, with the defense, I can't really complain too much. Like 20 points against them, it's not awful. You've given the defense, given the offense a chance to win that game, and they just didn't take it. The defense get a pick, I think, halfway through the game, and then the offense don't even get any points from it. It was a 3 and out, or maybe got 1 first down, and then you're like, the defense couldn't do much more apart from obviously stopping McCaffrey. But let's be honest, he's one of the best running backs in the league, and maybe on another day would probably have another plan B if Walker was probably playing. But overall, I think the loss is definitely on coaching, which I think we need to get into again, and then the offense.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on that because there's been a lot talked about, and Raheem himself kind of came out and said, "Tommy, my fault," and I'm kind of struggling at the minute. I don't know whether it always is him, because I kind of feel like he's the kind of guy who will just take responsibility because he's the head coach. Like, that's kind of his nature. But yeah, there was some baffling coaching decisions made. Lately, what was your take?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We seem to be doing this a lot, really. And I don't know if it's our inability to adapt to the other coaches. Like, we come up against some coaches that are, can adapt on the fly and be creative, and we just don't. I feel like when we come up against certain styles and we like clever in some way or whatever it is, but it goes against us really. We just look a bit like we don't really know what we're doing. It's like we just have either like we have like no plan or we have like 5 plans throughout the game, and we just keep switching between them. And we don't really know how to just beat a team with coaching. Like in the middle of a game, you've got to react to certain things. Like, you have a game plan, but you can't just stick to it and have nothing else. You've got to react to what's on the other side, and we just kind of have no idea how to do that. Not quick enough anyway. We're very slow to react to things. It looks like we're 2 or 3 plays behind a lot in terms of the coaching, and I feel that's where we struggle when teams come up with something a little bit different. We just don't know how to play it from there. And obviously Shanahan's a very good offensive mind. Like, we know he was, him and McCaffrey as a duo were very, very lethal. But they didn't actually, apart from obviously McCaffrey, did a lot. They didn't really do a whole lot on offense themselves. Didn't have a good game, and we still didn't. We had opportunities, and we just didn't take them.
Yeah, I think if we take a kind of quick look into the stats, Mac Jones threw for 152 yards against Penix's 241. We were pretty toothless on the running game. Bijan rushed for 40 yards in total, I think, whereas McCaffrey was 129. And especially when we talk about how much McCaffrey hurt us, a 129 game doesn't really tell that story. Carl, interested, why do you think, if you look at the stats, our offense looked like it moved the ball efficiently enough? What was the difference between the stats and the tape?
Yeah, it's an unusual one, isn't it? Like you say, like McCaffrey. It looked like McCaffrey ran for 300 yards if you watch part of it. Like, if you watch the highlights, it's like he got every yard. Every time you looked at it, you're like, it's him again. I don't know. It was just a weird one because obviously the Bijan ran for 150 or 60 last week. Made it look quite easy, some of the runs. But I think some of the play calling this week, I don't think the O-line was that good this week. I think they got behind our O-line quite quick, which I don't think sort of helped the run game. I feel like they have like a plan A straight away in the first few drives. They're trying to see what the run game's sort of going to be like, and I feel like we didn't stick with it. I think it was the first game of the season where we we hardly ran the ball, and we ran it more yesterday, but not to what we could have. And I feel like we keep going back to it, don't we? We have this plan A, but do we have a plan B? Do we? But that then goes back to like coaching and that. And I feel like if plan A doesn't work, we're sort of stuck and like, right, we might as well just throw the ball now, or just give it to Bijan on the left or the right and let him see what he can do. I don't think our wide receivers had a great game either. Mooney dropped a couple. I will applaud Pitts though, because I thought he had another very strong game.
Another game, yeah.
Good to see. Obviously he's still coming off an injury, but how much can you sort of blame on the injury all the time? Like if he's just catching the ball, I don't think London was up to scratch either, which didn't help. And I think that would have been a few drop catches. I think London was only 4 out of 10, I think it was, or something like that. Might have been even worse, which isn't great. So
Mooney was the leading receiver with less than 70 yards. So I think that kind of tells the story. I think you are right to call out Kyle Pitts, though. I think he kind of felt like the one that was sort of getting himself into positions to try and move the chains. So I think it's a fair shout. I think to hark back to an earlier episode, and I still to be kind of proved wrong. And if Zach Robinson wants to do this 1 win, 1 loss pattern, unfortunately, he's going to have to continue to stay on Road Watch because for me, this game should have been a bit more competitive than it ended up being. And I think we've probably just hit the nail on the head there, gentlemen, that actually, I don't know if it's when we're on the road. I don't know if it's we were maybe going in with too much confidence, maybe after that Bills game. I don't know, but whatever the problem is that we continuously end up saying when we go on the road against teams that we should be, and I'm not going to say the 49ers are awful because I don't think they are. They are banged up though, so they're without a lot of first team starters. So we should have taken advantage of that. To only score 10 points with one not on the field, with both are not on the field, I think that's quite criminal. But I think we need to maybe take the positives out of this week and move on to next. Just worth a quick shout out, I think. Another sack. This year's unlikeliest of heroes, Zach Harrison. How are we seeing that? I realized that Jalen Walker wasn't available, but surely we still had enough firepower off that edge to sack Mac more than once.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was that on the first drive as well? I think for us,
I think it was straight away. So
straight away, you're thinking it's not a bad start, is it? And then it didn't really get much better after that one.
I think probably another one worth calling out is JD Bertrand. I think he came in and filled the spot for Diablo quite well. I think the biggest negative to come out of this week really for me is the injuries, which we still don't have any news on yet that I'm aware of. I know that Raheem confirmed that Penix has a bone bruise on his foot. I don't think I've seen anything about Algiers' injury. And I think from the last thing I read regarding Diablo was that it's a potential fractured forearm, which is a huge loss in my view. Because if he's going to miss a big chunk of the season with something like that, then especially with how great and consistent he has been, I see that as a bit of a worry. Carl, you got any? What's your thoughts next week on maybe just throwing Kirk out there and letting Penix breathe?
I think against the Dolphins, so it's one of them like we've got 11 games left, and you're gonna win at least. You got to win 7 for me to maybe give a chance of a wild card with 10 wins. I still think 11 might do it, but it's one of them where I don't think whoever's in quarterback, Kirk's obviously fine enough to beat the Dolphins. They are. I don't even want to say trash because they'll end up beating us. So, but I think if he is injured, Penix, and he's not fit enough, I would just start Kirk. Like he knows what he's doing. He's still got Bijan behind the ball. If Algier is then fit, he's still got a running game that can probably destroy the Dolphins at the moment. They are allowing a lot of points. I'd rather play him for one game and then Penix come back third because there's only 6 games in. Our bye week's gone already. We've gone past that.
I agree.
So if he's not fully fit, start Kirk. I don't think if it was against maybe a higher opposition, you might have probably risked it.
I agree.
But it's the Dolphins. We've got 1 win. McDaniels is probably going to get sacked very soon. So, and then he can take over our offensive position, and then we'll be all right.
Thoughts on these potential injuries, Liam?
Well, yeah. I mean, Diablo. I know they said that. Like, they said it was probably a fractured forearm, but then that described him as week to week. Like, I don't know how you are a week to week on a fractured forearm. Like, maybe there's ways they can get them playing. Like, it doesn't sound like something a defensive player should be playing with. But that was the way to describe that injury as a fractured forearm, supposedly a week-to-week injury somehow. Obviously, if he's out for any number of games, it's a big loss. Penix, I mean, obviously, it would be a loss, but you'd expect that if he's going to be missing, it's going to be for 1 game, and that it might even be a game that he could potentially play, but maybe we choose not to. I don't know which way we'll go. I mean, Cousins, the good thing about having somebody like Cousins is obviously the massive amounts of experience. Like, he's not going to need, he doesn't need a lot of time to get up to speed, will he, really? Like, he's going to be somebody who can step in and run an offense with very limited preparation. So if we did have to go down the route of playing Cousins, like, I'm not concerned about him playing like significantly worse than Penix. Like, I'm not saying he'll have a great game or anything, but he's going to be somebody who's ready to go at any point because he's been around and done it for so long that I think he'll always be ready to step in. He's played in the offense before, so he's played a little bit this season. So if we do go that, like, I feel like we should, with either quarterback, we should have enough to beat the Dolphins with the way that they're playing. So I wouldn't find it like crazy if they went and played Cousins just to give. Obviously, if we then went and lost to the Dolphins, like, people will question it, but I'm pretty sure that anybody would expect that we could beat the Dolphins. I think
so. Just looking. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you. I think my signal has been jumping.
I think there's a delay on my voice or something. Hello.
Oh no, my internet held out for as long as it did. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, there is a little bit of a delay. Okay, cool. Well, just while I try and battle with this internet delay, just to look forward to the Dolphins outside of the injury crisis, and I did just have a quick Google, and Tyler Algier is allegedly fine, no injury to speak of, so he should be in line and ready for Miami, which is great. So let's do some predictions, gentlemen, shall we?
Oh God! Honestly, I don't think it matters who's in at quarterback, if we're not hitting over 28 points against these, I think I'll be quite disappointed, to be fair. I think it's one of them where we should be putting quite a few points against them. I think on average, they must be like hitting over 28, conceding over 28. They've been dreadful on deep. Well, say offense, I think they've been dreadful on defense as well, on both sides of the world. They've got one win. They're not a good football team this year at all. I'm going to go for like 30, 14.
30 points to 14.
Okay,
Liam, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think same as Cal, they should be putting up quite a few points. I think the lowest amount of points that they've given up this season was 27. That's the lowest they've kept any team to for any of the games. So I would anticipate that we should be going towards sort of like your 34, 37, something like that, points around there. And I'd be very disappointed if they score more than 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Like, I'm going to say they'll get 17, but that's giving them a high point total that I think they should potentially be holding a lower than that. So yeah, I'll go with 34-17. How's Mark froze? That's a good. Or is he just very still? Well,
just
we'll
some
see.
news. I was going to say just some news that's come out. I think McLeod's been released.
Oh, is it official?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that it's just been released.
Yeah.
So which is
Ray. Which kind of we expected.
That
to come, didn't we? Ray's out. I mean, that was coming from what the limited news we heard. I mean, we heard something was going on rather than what it kind of was, but the whole sort of story around that was basically that he was not going to be coming back to the team. As soon as you have that kind of incident, you can't just come back. Like, as soon as it's out there in the public in some way, you can't really come back. I don't know if you've released any actual information about what it was, but
no, but I'm sure more will come out in the next couple of weeks about it, which is a shame. Because obviously, I thought it was a player that did a good job for us when he
was doing well,
especially special teams. And then even in the wide receiver core, he sort of was always giving them little runs and that, which now does. I don't think it weakens us like immensely, but it definitely weakens us to a point, especially with how our wide receiver core is sort of at the moment. I don't think it's very strong. I think London knows. I think Mooney. I still highly rate Mooney, and I think it is just one of them where he just needs that. I don't know. Maybe he just needs to be full fitness, and can't blame some drop catches on that. To be fair, but we seen what him and London did last year. I think it was a great partnership. Pitts has been strong this year, and to be fair, I don't think many people have many complaints about him, which is good to see. But we've got to get in that wide receiver market. I think it's quite good at the moment, which isn't great for us.
Yeah, I do feel the same about Mooney. I think I do think it's a fitness thing. I don't think he just doesn't look like the same player as he was last year in terms of the way he's playing, and we know that he obviously had issues at the start of the season with a couple of injuries, so I can only assume that it is some kind of either he's either getting up to trying to get up to speed with the game, or he's physically not there with either of those. I just don't think he's looked quite ready. We're probably playing him and using him more than maybe we would want, because we don't really have that many other options. That's kind of the thing. We haven't got that sort of solid wide receiver two that we can rely upon. We've got some some good-ish options to go to. We've obviously got Pitts who can play that role, and Bijan who can play that role, but we're not got the luxury this season of having a wide receiver roster, so we kind of probably play Mooney maybe more than we would probably like to, and then obviously that then causes us to kind of force the ball to London a lot in some situations where obviously yes he will come down with a lot of balls, but when the defense kind of has a very, very good idea where you're going to go with the ball, it gets a little bit easier to defend.
So sorry about that. I have to have at least one internet call every show. Just seeing about the news about Ray. Have we? Sorry, I came into that conversation sort of halfway through. Have we discussed Tyler Lockett?
Yeah. No, we were just discussing that, like the Ray situation, and obviously that impact on us as he was our third wide receiver option, really.
Yeah.
And it limits us a little bit more, but we didn't get around to discussing who potentially could step in.
Tyler Lockett, to me, seems like a bit of a home run. Just for his skill set. I know he hasn't had a great time in Tennessee, but I don't think there's many people who've had a great time in Tennessee recently. For me, that just seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I don't know what kind of money he's on, but I'm sure a deal can be worked out. Just in other news in the comments as well, we've got Sly Martian in about linebacker, and I think if Diablo is out, I mean, how much quality are you going to get at this stage of the season is probably my main question in that position group. But I don't know, boys. I kind of feel like this isn't the time where we can be down to bare bones.
Yeah.
Would you take Lockett, Cal?
I think I would. I think he's sort of a perfect wide receiver for us. Like you said, he's not been great in Tennessee, but not many players have this season. If you can get him for cheap, obviously, I don't see why not.
We like cheap.
It's different if it was further in the season and you thought the season was dead and buried, but we're 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
We have many winnable games. We beat the Bills last week. This is another hiccup, which
agree.
Wasn't sort of expected. I don't think we went in as favourites at all, but it was a game where we definitely could win. And I think going back to it, did they beat us or did we beat ourselves? I think it's a flip of the coin for that one for me. I don't think they were much better than us overall. We've got.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Carl. I 100% think that we beat ourselves this weekend.
But how many times is that happened this year already? I think that's kind of the worrying thing where you sort of go back to.
3.
Well, maybe the Panthers. I think we completely just got demolished, didn't we? So it was one of them. But it goes back to the coaching part. Like I said, I don't think it's just Raheem. It is everyone. Like having 12 men on the field and then having 10 men on the field. That's basic football.
Yeah.
Especially at such a pivotal time of the game. They're little mistakes, but it's not little mistakes that it's happened twice a season. It's happening quite a lot. The timeouts at the start of the season and even last year was quite poor. I think our time in has been quite poor for the last year or two in general. I think it gets better at times and then we just drop off again. And I think this is the frustration from the fans. It's just the inconsistency of the football because we know our offense can be unbelievable. 100% can be unbelievable. We outplayed the Bills last week. Like Liam put Bills like 6 or 7 favourites still, so they still have a very good chance of winning the Super Bowl. Got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and look what we did against them. I think it is just another hiccup, but we can't afford to do one win, one loss, one win, one loss. We've got to get a run together because it could be a long season.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think the interesting, or it could be further interesting as we continue to get into the season. But everybody seems to be beating everybody. I don't think there's many consistent teams out there, and I think that's something that we need to potentially cling to at this point, right? Because it's only going to need, a little run of games. And, I look at our fixtures, which do have a little bit of a different tinge to them, I think is probably the best way that I can put it. I think we would have said that we would have beaten the Dolphins, but Patriots look like a little bit of a better outfit defensively, maybe not as much, but offensively, I think Drake May has proven a lot of people wrong, and I think he's so that could well be challenging. Colts in Germany, obviously, I don't think anybody really predicted how well the Colts were going to do, and Danny Dimes, or Indiana Jones, as people are calling him, his little revival. So we've still got some tough games, but I think we've still got the Jets to come down the line. I think there's still a lot of and we've still got the Saints twice, and that they are looking like this year's Carolina right now. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how we react. And we said the same thing before the Bills game. We need a reaction. So let's hope we get that against the Dolphins.
I think
Is that go on?
Just to put in there, we've got like our next 6 games. We know like every game is pivotal. But you got the Dolphins, Pats, Colts, Panthers, Saints, and then the Jets. So that's 6 games. If you came out of that 4-2, which I think it can happen, I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
Most fans would take that. If you come out 3-3s, then you ended up on 6-6 still. Don't think it's awful, but the Colts is, I think, that are by far the hardest one at the moment. Patriots do look kind of strong. I don't think no one thought they would be playing like they do, but also a team where we can win. I won't go into that and be like, oh, we're going to lose, because like you say, everyone's beating sort of everyone, which is a bit of a crazy league, and it does help us. But if you come out the next 6 games 4-2, it won't be a bad showing. Or maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but
no. I think I think you're right, and even if, some would argue that 4-2 isn't deal. I think we've got to pick up a surprise win, because we I suppose it's probably fair to say we haven't got a lot of trust right now, but again, to my earlier point, I don't think there's probably many teams fans that do have a lot of trust right now. So it's certainly going to be a pivotal run-in, to use your turn of phrase. I think you're absolutely right. Just a little, I mean, it is a loss, but not a catastrophic loss that it would have been in years gone by. But Mike Evans is now out for the season for the Bucs, which makes things slightly more interesting for the Bucs front. Obviously, the Bucs are as much as it pains it, and they don't just rely on that one player. But Baker does seem to be doing everything he can to injure every single wide receiver he has. And there's part of me that respects it, because he's a balls to the wall kind of guy. But I still think he's actually got a personal vendetta against all of his wide receivers. Cool. Okay. So to summarize, Zach Robinson, you're still on Fraud Watch.
Absolutely.
Stop beating ourselves, and let's get into these little fishies next week. I think for the first time in ages, we might have an early game this weekend as well, chaps. So we might just be able to watch it live this week. So that's good. Anything else about Dolphins or 49ers before we move on to our segments?
I don't know if I want to. I don't really want to mention it, but
You're going to jinx it.
Penix in general. 6 games in, 61% completion rate.
Yeah.
1,400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. What we saying? What we saying? He needs to improve generally.
Yeah, I think it's a funny one, right? Because for me, I think his pocket awareness needs to get better. I do think that we have to remember that he's sitting behind, 60% of a start no line. 60% of a start no line, which includes a centre that none of us really thought at the beginning was, of a elite caliber. So I think there's some of it down to that. I certainly don't think he's the finished product by any stretch of the imagination. However, one thing that I have noticed is the scheme. We're not seeing a lot of play action. We're not seeing a lot of like sort of QB driven kind of plays. It's very much, pistol, shotgun, Penix gets the ball, takes his couple of, 1 or 2 steps and then has to get the ball out. And I do think that might be because we're trying to do the best with the O-line that we've got. But I also think that it might be a limitation of Zach Robinson's scheme. Now, is he scheming because he doesn't trust the O-line? Yeah, possibly. But I think that I think it would be hard to doubt that actually from a overall quarterback perspective that we've definitely got an upgrade on Kirk. He hasn't even had a full season in the league yet. Young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. And if you're sitting behind someone like Kirk, like apart from play action, like really what is he going to be able to teach you about getting out the pocket? Because Kirk ain't that guy. So I'm
He froze.
He froze again.
Mid-sentence this time. He's back.
Let me finish. I'm back. So yeah, I'm broadly happy with what I've seen from Penix. I think the scheme limits him. That's my opinion. Liam, I don't know whether you agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that you would maybe say was a slight negative, but overall, I think he's been good enough. I think he showed enough with his sort of passing range and accuracy at some moments to show that there's definitely a good quarterback in there. He's going to take some refinement. I think he can. I think he can use his legs a little bit more. Maybe he has a little bit of fear around that with injuries that he's had in the past. I'm not sure. Like he's obviously not like an immensely agile quarterback, but he can run, he can scramble, and he can gain those 5 or 6 yards. And I think he has a reluctance to do that, or maybe he's just not thinking quick enough to do that. I think he's looking for a pass like every time when there is run lanes available. I think if he starts to take those, he'll start to be a bit more efficient in the way that he can play. But yeah, I think I've seen enough from him to believe that he can be a good quarterback.
Yeah, and I think that comment in the chat just kind of harks to what you said, Liam. Cool. So yeah, I think great point to raise, Carl, because I think as we all know, it's the most important position in the team, and we've been in QB purgatory for long enough now. So I understand why you're nervous, but I certainly don't think it's a huge reflection on him. I think we've got to just maybe bear in mind that it's going to take him a little while to learn from some of these mistakes.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool, awesome. Shall we move on to the segments, chaps?
Why not?
Yeah.
I do hope my internet doesn't drop when it's mine. Right. Okay. So let's see if I remember how to do this. So we're going to start with our usual segment. And we're going to bring in Liam for drum roll, please.
Hey. Rookie watch. There it is.
No,
So good.
Came
We
up.
did it twice.
and then left again. There you go.
it's what the
Liam-
fans want. You just got to give it twice sometimes.
Liam is in his happy chair, ready to talk about the rookie of the week. Go for it, Liam.
It's the only place to talk about. Yeah, I mean, obviously in our game, not great. I don't think any of them were that good, to be honest, at all. I think the highest rated rookie was like Xavier Watts, which he was like mid-tier. I don't really remember him doing any much in the game that I can remember. I'm remembering incorrectly, but I can't remember him contributing too much. So the fact that he's obviously at highest, like we didn't see Walker at all because obviously he wasn't playing. PS Junior had a pretty quiet game, I think, overall, and I don't think Bowman's wasn't back, so we were lacking in our best. Like, he's not rookie, but our best rated defensive player was Sam Roberts. So I'm not really sure where he came from or who he is, but he appeared out of nowhere, and he was our best defensive player supposedly this week. So fair play to him. Just a big bullish nose tackle doing a good job. So yeah, there's not too much to talk about in terms of our rookies. We were very, very mid across the board. None of them were our worst players. None of them were our best players. They just sit nicely in the middle, all in a little cuddle because they're all next to each other in the gradings. So, yeah.
Did you just use the words "very mid"? I
did. Not from a cool hipster point of view. From a they are literally in the middle of the team.
Okay, right.
It turns out to be the same word. But yeah, they're just that.
My son uses that word. Like that's how
I mean, I assume it means the same thing, but they're in the middle of the table of grades, so they are mid. In my I'll pretend I'm being cool, but no, that's exactly what I meant. Because I have no idea what mid means either. So yeah, not a lot to report. I mean, our whole grading wasn't great, as you can probably imagine. It wasn't very impressive, but they're doing okay this season, our rookies. I think it's similar to what I sort of said last show. Nobody's really stood out. Like, obviously, we've had moments of good play, especially from like sort of Watts and Walk on occasion, Pierce on occasion, but nobody's really stood out as significantly flying as a rookie. But nobody has been significantly bad either. So I would say that I'm continuing my opinions that we've got a good set of rookies in the team that will progress into good players, but without being spectacular early on.
Anyone? Is there anyone you want to call out from across the league?
There's always somebody I want to call out across the league. I'm making sure I pick one every week. I've got a few in the pocket that I've been watching now just to see if they're sort of progressing the right way in terms of the performances. I'm not picking any controversial names or anything this week. Keeping my eye on those ones. But yes, exactly. My pick this week is somebody who I think has been playing really well and sort of a big part of why they're having success against the grain a little bit, or maybe against expectations. So you might be able to guess which team I'm going with. But I'm going to pick Tyler Warren from the Colts. They're obviously tight end that they drafted. Did come with quite a big reputation. So he was expected to play well because of his physical and athletic ability. But he is performing to that expectation. He is the leading receiver leading tight end in terms of receiving yards in the league, in the whole of the NFL right now, which is good going for a rookie. He's got a touchdown in each of his last 3 games, showing a lot of consistency. He's like the second highest targeted player on the Colts as well, so they obviously got a lot of trust in him. I think he's had a few drops, which I think they've always said is his only concern, but ultimately, like, he's having an excellent sort of game. Weirdly, they're using him. When I was looking at his stats, like, he's had 5 rush attempts this season so far. Not normally see the tight end using a rush, but he's had 5 rush attempts. So that's something that he's really got in his locker. So.
Let's not discount the amazing Felipe Franks.
He could do it. He could do it.
Tyler Warren still has a long way to go until
he does. Yeah. So yeah, he's even got a rushing touchdown this year, Tyler Warren. So clearly, he's a unicorn, he's a real one. So yeah, he's my rookie of the week, or so rookie of almost the season on the offensive side of the ball. So when I looked into his stats, he's had a really good season. And maybe he'll have a Kyle Pitts like first season and a Kyle Pitts like second season and completely drop off. But he's certainly trending in the right direction to be the success that people expected him to be.
I think we've seen a couple of tight ends recently that kind of have that sort of first season bounce. Like Kincaid was like amazing, or at least he was against us. So I haven't looked at his stats on the season, but I just haven't heard about it. So I don't know if it's almost like a little bit of a pattern that you get these kind of rookie tight ends and then they just kind of
yeah, potentially. But yeah, they're the Colts are looking good, so one season might be enough for them. You never know.
Awesome, great shout, Liam, and that concludes
Rookie Watch. Happy chair.
Now we're going to move on to my favorite segment. And I'm going to do a double header this week because I couldn't be here last week, unfortunately. And boy, do I have some doozies for you. Now, it's time for Fraud Watch.
Best time of the week.
Right, cool.
Are you still playing a clip?
So, I'm going to start this week's Forward Watch with somebody who has been on the radar for quite some time. And I tried to maybe not dive in too quickly, to maybe not, just like kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. But tonight we induct our first running back into the Fraud Watch Crotch Pheasants. And it is none other than Ashton Jonty from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I was high on this guy coming into the league. I thought he was going to be what Cam Scatterbo has turned out to be. I thought he was going to be a real problem. I thought he was just going to be knocking defenders over. I don't like this weird Michael Myers stance that everyone keeps talking about. I don't like it. I don't understand how that sets you off on the right foot to carry the ball. But what do I know? Well, I'll tell you what I know, dear listeners. We have a running back here that was drafted 6th overall. 6th. So far in the regular season, he has had 445 yards total with 111 calories. Calories? Carries even. Carries. I'm sure he has more calories than that. He has managed 3 touchdowns. I will give him his due. But at 111 carries, averaging only 4 yards a carry, not really doing that much anywhere else. I mean, he's doing a bit at receiver, but not very much. I appreciate that he's probably the Raiders' only offensive weapon. Of any note, I can't name anybody else on the Raiders' offense, truth be told. And he has got Geno Smith. I appreciate that, which is why I'm always happy to eat humble pie. But for this week, RB1 slot in Fraud Watch goes to Ashton Johnny. That's number 1. Number two might be slightly controversial. Number 2 might be slightly controversial. I know it's going to be controversial because Liam and I have already had a row on WhatsApp about it. But we are inducting our second wide receiver into the Fraud Watch roster. And that second wide receiver went second overall in last year's draft. Came with fanfare because he can play wide receiver and he can play cornerback. He came from none other than the Deion Sanders tree. It is Travis Hunter of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, there are plenty of reasons that I can tell you that this man is on Fraud Watch. But let me start with the fact that despite starting more as a receiver, he's only had less than 300 yards on the season with 1 touchdown, which actually came this week, I believe. He's had just as many fumbles as he's had touchdowns. And I urge you, dear listeners, to go and have a look at his defensive stats, because all you will see across the board is zeros. You cannot convince me that this has been a good start. I do appreciate that the Jags haven't been that great. But this just shows to me that the Jaguars coaching team, not that I'm saying they're any good at all, but the Jaguars coaching team or his QB do not trust him to throw the ball to. And don't worry if you're on the opposite side of the ball, because he ain't going to catch anything either. So, Travis Hunter, you are now officially on Fraud Watch in the wide receiver 2 division. Fraud Watch.
I think
we're building that roster, ladies and gentlemen. We're building that roster.
We need Liam to reply.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, personally, I probably wouldn't have I wouldn't have either of them on there. But I think I can almost accept Travis Hunter, but I can't accept Janty on there at the moment, just because he's playing in an absolute bin fire of a team, and he's got the second most missed tackles and broken tackles in the league, and that's kind of what he was brought in to do, is to make people miss and break tackles. He struggled to get consistent yards, obviously, and I think he expected, obviously, when you're picking it high, and you would expect more production. But I do feel like in a team that's better than the Raiders, I do feel like he could produce better than he's showing in that team.
And that is the beauty of Fraud Watch, because I'm always happy to be proved wrong.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always in the boat of with any Raider that's bad, it's just well, he plays for the Raiders, so they just get a bye from being bad because the Raiders are always bad. I think there's something in that, and one of my pals is a Raiders fan. God bless him. And
I told him Janty was going on fraud watch, and he was very unhappy with me. But it's I like, if we think about, like, Diablo is a great example, right? Like, we didn't know who the dude was. Like, he didn't come with any fanfare or anything like that, and all of a sudden he gets in a team where he fits and it works. So listen, Mr. Janty, if you're watching, you can always get off fraud watch, but you gotta start doing some bits.
I'd be interested to see what Hunter's whack over the next couple of weeks, because obviously he was doing very little, and they weren't even targeting him, and then all of a sudden decided that they'd actually throw in the ball more than anybody else this week, and obviously he got his first touchdown and went for over 100 yards. Like, was that a one-off, or did he now actually believe in what he can do, and they're going to start targeting him more? I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
I think the thing for me is, like, you drafted him second. You drafted him second overall, and I still think that was wild because, again, came from Colorado, and I still don't get the hype about what that team was and its identity and the caliber of teams that they played. And I just think he wasn't a number 2 pick in either position that he plays. So, like, what are you drafting him for at that spot? It's almost like the Jags were like, oh, I've seen a few mock drafts, and we should just go with, BPA. And I don't know what I'll stand to it. I don't know what he's a BPA in. Time will tell. Time will tell.
I might have a new small little section that I'll do for 1 minute, and it's just about that rivalry in our division, who are 1-6, who are trash, and it's absolutely great to see. And yes, we're only 3-3, but if we can slag off the Saints, or the Aints, which we should be calling them, I'm going to do it. And I think we should all do it. And I think it should be a weekly thing. And even if we go and win next week, we're only 2-6, and I don't care. So 1-6 Aints, I'm loving it. And yeah, we're only 3-3, but you all got 1 win. And the only team that's worse than you is the Jets, and they are trash. Even Mark's team that he played for 4 or 5 years could give them a game.
Without a doubt. My old teammates will be delighted to hear it. But I think I can't wait for Danny to do the graphic for Aints Watch. Yeah, I mean, it's lovely. I think the biggest sort of WTF moment for me this week was when they were like 20 points down, and they managed to get one just before half time, and Alave and one of the other players started dancing in the end zone. And you're like 20 points down going into half, and it's like, my guy, is that how you are? Is that what the makeup of your team is right now? Like, you're dancing in the end zone, 20 points down at half time. And I'm pretty sure up until that first touchdown, that Rattler had -1 passing yard in the entire first half. So listen, I'm here for it. I do feel a bit threatened by this section if we're going to do it regularly, however, because it's going to be very hard for me not to swear. And we're a family show.
We are.
Cool. So, anything around the league that we want to talk about? I think for me, just one thing of note. I've said how much I like the Giants this season, but in terms of a fourth quarter capitulation, I think we've seen possibly the worst since our Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up there. What was it? What was it? 33-30 in the end, or 32-30?
I think they won by 1 point, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly.
Yeah, I think Bonnick's had like first half he'd done like I can't remember what it was, but and I saw on like fantasy points by the end of he's my fantasy quarterback, so I was obviously noticing this. But I think at the end of the first half, Bonnick's had 4.4 point fantasy points by the end of the first half. By the end of the game, he had 41. So you can see how that second half went for both teams.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it just
yeah,
shows how this league is this year. I think Mark's mentioned it several times. I think
bananas.
it was one of them I thought Broncos would have gone in and won the game anyway, but for the Giants to be so much up, it was like fair play. They are obviously an upcoming team, kind of still got quite a few losses, but you can see where they're going. But to obviously lose when you're in that position, obviously we know probably in the worst circumstances, but it's always not good to see. But the whole league, I think, like, I don't know, it's one of them seasons where, as a fan, as a neutral, best thing ever, absolutely the best thing ever. You want the league to be competitive. No one thought the Colts would be 5-1, 6-1. What are they on now? Maybe 6-1, won't it, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Even the Bucks, like, I'm 100% glad they lost. Like you said earlier, he's trying to kill every wide receiver he has. Not great to see, but also in our division, but I'll take it.
But they got beat off the Lions though. Like
which is fair enough.
Go like
I think the Chiefs 100% look like I know they only played the Raiders, but I think they had a slow start to the season. I still don't think they're the team of the past few years, but I think they generally look stronger than they did at the start of the season. But so like the Bills, we beat the Bills, and I think it's their bye week this week. It's just I think it's just a crazy league, but like you said, like we're 3-3, we still have a very good chance of getting the playoffs. I think 7 wins gets you in it. We have 7, not easily, but we have 7 games on our remaining fixtures that we can win without a doubt. We could go and win them all. If we went and win them all, you'd be surprised, but you'd still be like, well, we can do that. We know what we can do. But we could go lose most of them by like 1 point because we know we can do that as well. I've still got us down as actually I wrote a loss against the Dolphins, and this was obviously like way before the season started. But I've gone for a win, so I've changed my mind.
Okay. Well, so one player I was going to give a shout out to is Mr. Flacco over in Cincinnati to go like in his first game. He's been in the building for like a week to throw 342 yards, 3 touchdowns against the good Steelers.
I was going to say, Steelers.
Yeah, that's some going on your first game for that team. Obviously, you realise that there's this like really strange thing you can do called throwing to your superstar receiver when he's out there, which I feel like was a smart move to throw to somebody who's really good at football.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
It is. Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I really liked it though. Really liked it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really, really worthy shout out. Flacco's almost kind of been another one of these journeyman quarterbacks, but he's still managing to pull it out the top draw kind of everywhere he goes. I mean, I know he didn't necessarily pull it out in the top draw against the Browns, but I think we were probably all shocked that the Browns convincingly beat Miami, and I think that's more of a reflection on Miami than the Browns, right? So, I completely agree. I think the only thing I want to mention as well was I told you all that the Commanders were going to regress. I told you, I said, Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but every single defensive coordinator across this league was going to figure him out. and the Cowboys laying a fort on them, because as we all know, guys, Dan Quinn ain't got no plan B. So I think I think fair play to the Cowboys, because I really thought they were going to be poor this year, and I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they're good enough to, surprise anybody. And I think they're probably in a tough spot because they're in a really, really competitive division. But to go into Washington against that Washington team, against Jaden Daniels, and do what they did and hold Jaden Daniels to 22 points or whatever it was, I thought that was commendable. And I'm not going to. There's not going to be many times you hear me commending the Cowboys, but I think it was a result of note.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Any more, chaps?
No, not for me.
No,
No,
we
that's
don't.
all good. Back to winning ways
Okay.
next week.
Back to winning ways. Back to early kickoff. Let's go into it with some hope that we're not going to make a show of ourselves against the team that we really, really should be beating. And I'm sure we will. But for this week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I apologize once again for my awful internet connection. I appear to live in the Bermuda Triangle. But we will catch you all next week. We will be putting this up as usual on all social media, as well as podcasting platforms if you prefer to listen in. Cal and I have new microphones, so we're hoping that we are a little bit more audible than we have been in past months. And if you want to find us on podcasts, we are available on all podcasting platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Did it work again? Did it work again?
No.
Or did I cut out?
No.
It didn't. Oh, okay. So this microphone from TikTok Shop is not worth £6.75. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Cal and Liam for joining me this evening, and Danny, wherever he is, and shacked up in some hotel room somewhere away from work. It has been a pleasure. Thank you all so much, and we will catch you in the next one.